with the delegates of LLU Latvia, and I would like for you guys to introduce yourselves to our students.
Hello, my name is Delegate, and I'm Deputy Head of International Cooperation Center at LBTU, at Latvia University of Life Sciences and Technologies.
Hello, I'm Agatis Vitos. I'm a Vice Rector for the Science at the University of Latvia, University of Life Sciences and Technologies.
So today we are here to discuss on why the students should choose LLU, what makes LLU special. We will also be discussing on who can apply to LLU and what programs they offer. First question, that is just why should the students choose LLU for their studies?
So our university is responsible for the unique fields in Latvia. So this is basically the only place where you can study such sciences as a veterinary science, forestry, agriculture, some aspects of civil engineering. So we are the only university that offers such courses in Latvia. At the same time, we are a strong competitor with other universities in the world because we are ranked Times University rating as well as QS rating. So those are big ratings in the world. In this world, there are more than 40,000 universities and only around 2,000 gets rated. So we are actually in top 2,000 in the world as universities. And at the same time, we offer very practical studies. So not just the theoretical, but we really look into accommodate students and understanding their needs and offering the study programs that allows you to relatively quickly connect to the labor market. So basically you learn theoretical part, but you also study practical part and you go to the internship or practice in a company where you actually strengthen your knowledge and you find already possible job, or you get also the skills how to establish new company because you study how to make startups, for example. So I think those are the 2 or 3 strong aspects of our university. And besides that, we are the only university in Latvia that locates a really beautiful campus in ancient palace, which is Gothic?
No,
Baroque. Sorry, I'm not good at history. Baroque Palace. Our headquarters of the campus is located in Baroque Palace on an island between 2 rivers. And if you see the environment, you will understand what I'm talking about. So you just Google and see our university.
Who can apply to LLU? What kind of students should apply, or what kind of students can apply to LLU?
we are waiting for international students, indeed. We are waiting to see in our university well-motivated and clever and good prepared students. The first thing what I need to say is about the English level. This is a very important thing, that a student is ready to study in English, because the medium of instruction in our university for international students are English. This is the first what I need to say, but additionally, for sure, we are waiting for students with good knowledge in the previous education, with a good background. The previous education, the marks should be not lower than 60% in average. There can be some failed subject. Those are maybe very practical things, but it is the way how we can check which students are eligible for university or our university and which are not.
We definitely look students also from India, because we had a very positive experience with students from India so far. More than 40% from international students come from India. So, and we see more motivated students that they study. We see also more discipline in them. So that's why we also look forward to getting more students from India.
Right, I guess that is because of the way we are taught in India. I think the schooling and everything, the basic education we go through, I think we are pretty.
And I feel the Indian students have because there are so many people and they need to have a high motivation or fight for their place on the earth. And I think that when they come, we see that they try to do many things, but they also succeed. They also graduate, and not everybody fail or something like that. So we see that their success rate is quite good.
You said about the 60% marks that students need to get into the studies. Could you tell me whether it is strictly 60%, or do you also take students with maybe like 58 or 59? Is that all right? Do they get selected?
No, students unfortunately with the lower grades than 60% will be not admitted in our university. This is we would like to see good students, but this is not the only reason. This is the requirement or the rules of our Ministry of Education and Science, and that's why we have no rights to admit students with the lower grades.
Right. And I think that anyways, if the student failed and he now decided that he want to enroll in university, he can go back to school and improve that subject. It's possible, and then he gets average mark higher. So, but he needs to have dedication and show that. And above 60% is it's not really high. It's quite a nice requirement.
What about if the students they want to apply for a science related program and they have a commerce background? What about that? Would they be admitted?
That would be a restriction because we have a kind of strict regulations which study program, which school field graduates can enter the certain university. If they have a training in different discipline, they cannot. Like if they finished commerce and suddenly want to enter mechanical engineering, it's actually, to be honest, going to be difficult for them also. But they need to go to the study programs which are similar to what his profile is. For example, it's very difficult to enroll in, let's say, agriculture or forestry without biology knowledge, right? So that student will only struggle actually. There's maybe some exception if the student works in the field for a longer period, and that can be discussed. But if the student didn't learn chemistry or biology and he wants to enter food science, it's quite difficult. For example, without chemistry or without biology, it's difficult to study forestry.
So about the courses, so as we know, LBTU does offer a wide range of courses for the international students, which none other universities are providing. So could you give us an overview about the courses you are providing to the international students?
So the most unique courses are related to the life sciences. That would be veterinary science. That would be the food science. That would be agriculture and forestry sciences. That would be geoinformatics. But as well, we provide regular courses such as information technology, such as economics, master business. And they can study both. Either they can study the unique fields of our university, or they can study the ones which are generally accepted and taught all around the world. But at the same time, I must emphasize that when students choose to study economics, there's gonna be a twist on application. And for example, our economic studies has a slight emphasis on developing regions, not only the city, but also the regions. If you study information technology, we also emphasize the sustainability, how the IT and programming and software engineering can solve the issues related to sustainability, pollution, air quality, maybe commerce issues and so on.
Could you tell us how or what kind of assistance does the university provide the students after the completion of their course, in case they want to continue their stay in Latvia, in case they want to work in Latvia, etc.?
Yeah, students arrive to Latvia with the student visa. Afterwards, they are receiving a student residence permit in Latvia for all the study period. This is basically for all the students. Every year, the students go to the immigration office just to show that they are still here, they are still studying, there has a successful study results, and then they are renewing this residence permit until the study ends. After study ends, all in all, they have, and automatically they have 4 months additionally after studies, just because there are some difficulties to come maybe in time on studies or something like that. But after those time passed, then a student has or already graduate has a right to apply for a job seeking visa for an additional 9 months. This means that there are given the additionally 9 months for seeking job or making some decision about the future. And there are several options. He or she can continue studies in our university, in other university, or somewhere in other university in Europe, for example, in Europe. Or this is like a good chance to find a job, because 9 months, this is the time that is given for finding like a decision for future. And after, if in those 9 months there is no success in the finding of job or choosing another study level, for example, then the student must come back to his home country.
I must add to this that in many bachelor study level programs or courses, there are internships and practices, and those are fully assisted by our tutors. So we help to choose the internship destination. We help to make a contract with the company, first contract, which is internship contract. It's a 3-side contract between university, the company, and the student. In that case, student can get the fit in a company. He can try already working in a company and show his dedication to the company, to the job, and he already can get permanent position after the internship. So he doesn't need to go to afterwards job seeking visa. Maybe if he's good employee, he already gonna receive the employment visa upon the graduation. So this is quite common already lately these days.
I believe language is an issue there, right? In case they want.
So there are 2 aspects in that. So many companies operate in Latvian language, but it depends on the field. For For example, in the food science, mostly the operational language is going to be Latvian. In IT, information technology, operational language is most probably is English.
So the students who take an IT course and they want to continue their stay, language wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, and actually we include in our courses special subjects such as Latvian language. So student can take Latvian language and master the basic Latvian language, which is quite handy if you want to engage in different particular fields like agriculture, forestry, veterinary, where you need to work with the clients, and speak to them. Many Latvians speak English, especially younger generation, but older generation still doesn't speak that good English. And if you want to interact with them, then some basic Latvian would be beneficial.
So we've heard a lot about Riga, but not about Jelgava. So could you speak about Jelgava?
Alright, so Jelgava actually has a long history of being the student capital of the Latvia, because we had a place called Academia Petrina, and this is the first university in Baltic states where the presidents used to study. So the first presidents from all the Baltic states study in Jelgava. So it has a really strong roots of the being student-oriented city. And then once we moved from Academia Petrina to the Jelgava Palace, that became like our headquarters. But many people recognize Jelgava as a true student city. It's just a population of 65,000 people, and there are many students who are living there during the studies, and even after studies they stay to live in Jelgava. But at the same time, they can also use the configuration that they live in Jelgava, but they work in Riga, because the distance between these two cities is just 40 minutes drive or 49 minutes by train. So it's very close. So many people actually work in Riga and live in Jelgava, or in mechanical engineering or IT, they also work remotely or work in the factories as a technical drawings or stuff like that.
What about the students' accommodation facilities? I believe the university have dormitory facilities for students.
So that we still can provide, and we are providing the place in dormitory for every international student. It could be not possible if we would not be located in Jelgava, but we have this opportunity and we are proud of that. So we have several dormitories in our city of Jelgava, and several of them we are giving for international students. We are still doing renovation for more, just to be sure that there will be places enough. This is a more safe opportunity for students, that you can be sure that there will be place for living, and you don't need to find or search. You don't need to search a flat or apartment in the city that you even haven't never been there. And this is much cheaper, because a place in our dormitory costs 127 euros for a while. Maybe it can change years and years, but this increase couldn't be very high. But for comparing, the prices for renting of apartment is up to 2.5 or 300 euros per month.
And actually this is also maybe the point that makes our university unique, because there are many universities in Europe that do not offer dormitories, and even in Riga universities they don't guarantee the dormitories for all the international students. So we come forward and we guarantee the dormitory for international students, which allow them to make studies also cheaper, because living costs will be cheaper. And let's be honest that in a winter months, when you need to pay central heating bill or you need to pay other bills, it can get quite expensive. So the dormitory option is way cheaper.
So do the students need to apply for getting their accommodation beforehand, like before when should they?
Yeah, he needs to book the spot, but Delegate can
Yeah, but the system is that when the student is accepted, then we book a place in dormitory for the student.
You do it at that time itself. Like, do they need to send some sort of request?
They don't need to send anything. We will do it on their place. Yes.
But of course they can refuse if they don't want to live in dormitory, because each room there are 2 people living in a dormitory. They are well equipped dormitories with a private fridge area and stuff like that. The thing which they need to share is a kitchen area on each floor. They can cook together.
What other facilities would be available at the dormitory?
So there's a washing rooms, for example, to wash your clothes, and there are other recreational areas for the students where they can just go and read. At the same time, they can always use the libraries, which we have in the headquarters, the main building, the palace, to rest, to use a laptop, to do the reading and other things. There are plenty of options. And of course, they can join sports. They can go to the club, sports club, and play table tennis and do other things. They, of course, can do also the clubbing, the thing which university don't control and don't interfere. Our university offered to students multiple opportunities using swimming pool, gym, aerobics, table tennis, badminton, other ways how they can boost up their health also.
And what kind of sports are promoted, or let's say what do you practice in?
So our university officially have 2 teams which are professionally competing in ice hockey, which is very exotic for students from India. And then we have
hockey is not, but ice hockey.
Yeah, and we have basketball team. But then at the same time we have a student Olympic Games where the students participate, and also international students showing quite good results in badminton and table tennis. Of course there are individual sports, like you can go and basically lift weights, whatever is your preference.
And go for competition?
Yeah, competition between many universities in Europe, and the students can go. If they're good enough, they will be selected for representing the university.
Coming to TRPs of students, which is the temporary residence card or residence permit for students. So does the university assist students for getting these TRPs once they reach?
Once they reach university, you mean? Yes, the system of arriving international student in Latvia is that here in India, students must apply for student visa or D type of visa, and this type of visa is for getting residence permit in Latvia. For the first stage, I am sure that Empire will be the best who will help provide the information for the students for getting the visa. But after arriving the university, me and my colleagues in the International Cooperation Center will be those persons who will assist students for getting residence permit in Latvia. Yes, we will check all the necessary documents, and let's see if something is missing, then we always explain what is missing and why and how we can fix it. Yeah.
So what are the activities for international students, or what is the life of an international student in Jelgava?
So the most activities can be related to the university, as I mentioned, the sports club, or it can be the libraries, traditional dance, or they can join chorus, they can join various student unions, student organizations in that sense. But if they want to just do something else, they can always find some possibility which is more related to the nature and peaceful environments, like you can do cycling. Jelgava has quite a well-built cycling path. There are marathons which happens, the night marathon, where you can compete with running, if you will. You can do ice swimming if you have a strong body. There are ice swimming competitions happening also in Jelgava. You can do fishing. We have 2 big rivers if you are into the fishing. So there are various activities. I think students can find many. And if they want to find if they want to look for something else, they can go seaside, which is also like a 15 minutes drive from our city. They can join the Baltic Sea and enjoy beach life in the summertime. In wintertime, it's not that pleasant to enjoy beach life. I think the ones who want to do something, they will always find something. Some students, they work part-time jobs and dedicate free time to that and studies. Some students, they are more loose and they can enjoy some more partying around. And of course, there are nightclubs, such things also.
Yeah, so and what's the major difference between Riga and Jelgava in terms of student life?
I think in terms of student life, so first I think we have this dormitory concept, so the more students can connect in dormitory. So we have a lot of buddy systems, so like a friend system where the seniors actually help the juniors or new enrolled students. The difference is probably that Riga has more restaurants and things like that, as being the much bigger city, but at the same time, if you want to enjoy more peace and you want to dedicate your life to the studies and more sports, then Jelgava is definitely way better compared to Riga, because Riga is very busy also tourist object. But at the same time, Jelgava is also a tourist object. Like our palace is also open for the tourists. I guess those are maybe that's
I can just add, life in Jelgava will be cheaper than in the capital.
That's definitely.
It is easy to reach Riga. That's why it is, I think, good way how to live in Latvia. That you live in Jelgava, study in Jelgava, but for a leisure time you can just easily reach Riga in 40,
not only
50
Riga, we
minutes.
have a Bauska, we have a Iecava, we have a different cities within a reach, because Jelgava actually actually, if you look at the map, is located as a road to Lithuania. So the many transit happens through the Jelgava. So that's the road to Lithuania. You can actually, from Jelgava, you can reach Lithuania just within 40 minutes. Lithuanian border, and you can enter totally different country and enjoy the facilities or experience there. That's also a thing, but definitely it's cheaper. Many students mention that it's way cheaper than living in Riga because of the rents in Riga and restaurant prices are way higher.
One more question: that do you guys does LLU support part-time for students, for international students? Do you all support students taking?
I mean, legally students can work 20 hours as a bachelor level students or 40 hours per week as a master level students. Personally, I think during the first year we don't want to support to work because we want to support students to study, because this our main aim is to give them high quality education so they can graduate and add value either to our country or either to Europe or either to their own country, returning to India or other country where they come from. But we don't support mental assistance for finding a job. This is a wild market. They need to look for the job themselves. But legally they can't do, of course.
I would like to discuss two main issues, or let's say problems or difficulty that students are facing when they are applying to LLU or let's say any Latvian university, but specifically coming to LLU. Usually when students apply to other universities in Latvia, the process is they pay the application fee, they take the interview, and then they go for the AIC process. When it comes to LLU, they first have to go through the AIC and then only students get to attend their interview. Students usually face an issue if they don't get selected after their interview. That is, if they don't clear the interview, it would be late. That is the AIC process, and which may take around a month or two. And then when they don't clear the interview, they usually don't have the time to apply to another university and get their selection in that particular intake itself. So is there anything you could tell about that?
Yes, after admission, student upload the documents. We're receiving this admission fee from students, and then we are sending all the documents. Not all we are checking before. My team is checking is everything regarding the requirements clear, and then if everything is fine, we are sending the documents to Academic Information Center for getting this IEC recognition letter. But for speeding up the process, we are giving opportunity to do this motivational interview and even the entrance exam in the same time when we are still waiting the answer from IEC. I know that last year it was a crazy long time for waiting IEC results.
It's around 3 months.
Sometimes up to even 3 months. In usual way it was in 2 months, but this year it's not. We don't see this problem anymore. This year they give the IEC letter in some 2, maximum 3 weeks, and in those 2-3 weeks we are doing the motivational interview and even entrance exam. That's why I would say that we are trying to do our as best as it is possible. Yeah.
Right.
And I think the university rector has also talked to the AIC about this issue, and I think they came to the conclusion. So I think it shouldn't be any issue in the further years, because there are many changes that 1 year when it took time.
Alright, another difficulty is that in the Indian education system, let's say, the academic year ends usually in the March-April time, and the results by the time they get the certificate, it will be another couple of months. And it is hard for our students to apply to the September intake, because by June 15, by the time I believe the applications close.
Admission deadline is June 15. Yeah.
Would it be what do you suggest our students, or what is there anything the university could do about?
Yeah, this problem should appear only for the bachelor students and only for those who are going to the bachelor level directly from the high school chair, from the 12th class to the first course in the university. For today, I can't say anything very new, because these deadlines are based on the visa procedure, and for that time that I know that it takes some up to 3 months to get the student till the university. It means from the moment of admission starts until the students arrives in our university and can start the studies. It can take up to 3 months. In the way, if there is no any gaps in the time of if all of us is working slightly, this is what I'm saying. So unfortunately, if the students would like to apply only in July or August, then we can postpone only for the next intake.
Yes, there also the problem that the February intake doesn't offer much programs which are open in the September intake.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and we have only several study programs programs for September?
I think we can have a discussion about if many students from India cannot make it to the September or like 1st of October is real start of the semester. If they cannot make it, then we can negotiate some program directors about the start semester from February. So then we're gonna not provide any more intake for September, October at all, but there's gonna be only one intake, which is gonna be winter intake, we call it, because it's February is a winter intake. Thank you, please come to Latvia. See you, bye.